All right, hello everybody, and welcome to a Onespar weekly. This is just a podcast. I'm not going to consider this a channel update or anything like this. This is just going to be kind of like a life update podcast about what's going on with me, with the channel, and other stuff like that. Needless to say, a lot of the things that I recently promised, of course, have not come through. I mean, I haven't abandoned any of the shows that I planned on making, but right now they're still kind of just on the table. And on top of that, I have a new project that I'm sort of working on that's completely separate from everything else, of course. And so we might see that even earlier than anything else. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I didn't really want to do this to really make any points or make any promises or anything like that. I'm just I'm kind of frazzled emotionally and taking a break from my other project that I was working on currently, and I'm playing a game I really hate, not even any of the good ones, but I'm playing Payday 2. And this is a game mostly about waiting around for progress bars, and that's what I'm currently doing, is just spending a lot of time waiting. And so I thought, hey, why not? I'll produce something, and this will be a thing, and maybe there will be, I don't know, whatever. It's whatever. I'm not, oh gosh. I'm already going to have interference, canine interference. That's one thing that's happened. I had a dog before. I still have it. I still have one dog. But our family... Here he goes. He's going off. We've kind of adopted, sort of, from a... Oh, boy. We've adopted this dog from another family, basically, who couldn't take care of him. And we're on a kind of trial period where we're just dog sitting, and yeah, he's kind of annoying because he's not very well trained and he barks a lot. Not to say that my other dog doesn't also bark a lot, but this new one is really being annoying right now. Looking out a window, that jerk. Yeah, so that's been interesting. We got a new dog in the house. That's been, a bit of extra work for me. Bit of extra headache having to take care of another pet, but he's pretty cool. The little guy's pretty all right. I mean, I've gotten used to him. He poops in the house less now, so definitely we're better friends. But on top of that, really, I've just been sort of spending my time trying to build up some skills, build up something, get more familiar with a couple of things. I mean, I've been trying to work a lot more, like get money. Been trying to work at my job a little bit more. That's been going pretty well. I'm making money for the first time in a while since I've been able to concentrate on my job a little bit more. I still have medical issues in the family, which I think I've discussed on a previous something or other, maybe just vaguely. But that's been a whole interesting thing. Basically, I'll get into it, I guess, a little bit since it's not really tied to anything. But basically, my dad is going through a whole bunch of health issues based on some epilepsy that he developed a whole bunch of years ago. And within the past few months, it's been getting kind of more difficult to deal with. And he's been going to the hospital a lot. And we've been seeing a lot of doctors, and, he got his license taken away a while ago, and so, it's kind of fallen to me, sort of, to make sure that everything gets handled and taken care of. And, I mean, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I'm perfectly happy to help, but it's definitely taken up a certain amount of my time that I would have dedicated to other stuff otherwise. And yeah, I mean, it's been kind of interesting because, I mean, we go to all these different doctors, and I personally, like, in my adult life, I haven't really visited too many doctors after I turned 18 and originally moved away from home. I never made like an effort to go see like a general practitioner or anything like that. A primary care physician. I never had one really until just very recently. And so I'm not very familiar with the whole thing with doctors, because when you're young, I mean, you don't really have to deal with them at all. But now that I'm dealing with them a lot for him, it's really crazy how just how kind of thick the whole healthcare system is, and it's pretty tough when you have like a lot of different like specialists and you're trying to get them to communicate with each other, because they never do. And especially when it comes to doctors who have various specializations, they have a lot of patients in any given area, and so it's kind of hard to get anybody's full attention. But I mean, the doctors have been pretty good. They've been good at answering questions and stuff like that. And there's also been some like crazy tests that have been going on. I have to say, I'm squeamish. Generally speaking, like I could never work in a medical field, just because like I have a thing. I just have a thing where whenever I see whenever I see something like a human body do something, I just I imagine it viscerally like happening to me. Like I don't just think about like, oh man, that's what it would look like if it happened from my perspective, but also like, oh, that's how it would feel, and that's how it's bad. I don't like thinking about bad things happening to me for that reason. But a lot of injections, a lot of blood drawing, a lot of interesting stuff that I can't even watch. And so that's just been kind of crazy, having to deal with all that. And of course, there's a lot of appointments and stuff like that when you're dealing with tests, because every test, you can't just take the test and figure out what the results are. You have to take the test and then schedule a follow-up, which you have to go to at some other point in time. And so it makes it so that everything you do is kind of like, it's got a ripple effect down the line. If that's even the correct terminology for that, I couldn't tell you. And yeah, that has been sort of taking away my time from working on sort of stuff for my channel, for my YouTube channel, and for just my online presence. But I mean, there's been some time that I've had to myself, which I've been able to work personally on, stuff like that. And I do have a project in the works, but it's taken on a strange form. I guess for me, I can never make things simple when I do a project. It's like if I have an idea about the way it should work, if I have a strong idea about it, I really don't like to change it. And I prefer, even if it's not feasible per se, I still prefer to do it that way. So I'm sort of investing a lot of time into a review of a series of books that I read as a younger gentleman, and which I really liked, and I was able to kind of reacquaint myself with just recently. And so I've been working on a review, but it's not a video per se. I plan to talk. I plan to make all my points verbally, but basically I'm designing a website that plays a review. It's interesting, and I'm staying vague on purpose because I don't know exactly how it's going to flesh out right now. I mean, I do have, if I look at it, I would say, if I look at it factually, I would say I probably have about a third of the work done. It's about a third of the way to completion, to where I would potentially, either try to post a link to it somewhere, host it on a Google Drive, something like that, in an HTML document or whatever. But it's still, I think there's still a lot of room for it to change, and so because of that, I'm trying to stay flexible, really flexible if possible. And that's really why I don't want to get too far into it. I don't want to reveal the details, because I mean I don't know why anyone would be expecting it for any reason. But maybe you never know. Maybe you'll hear this and think, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and do. I'll be excited about a thing. I don't know. I'm not even thinking right now. Like I wish I could show you what I'm doing right now. It's literally I'm just staring at a row of lockers. I'm in the bank heist mission. The franchise bank where I'm opening up all the deposit boxes. I'm in the vault and I'm opening all the deposit boxes. There are columns A through X, and there are 5 lockers in every column, and it takes I would say about 5 seconds, probably about 5 to 7 seconds per each locker to open it. And you would think, it doesn't sound like that much time, but when you have to point to each one, you have to hold the right bumper, and you have to stare at it until the little circle fills up. It takes forever. Like I've been doing this mission, and there's a lead up to it, of course. I mean, I've been in this mission for 26 and a half minutes already, and I feel like I still got a good amount of lockers to go. I mean, I'm more than halfway done. In fact, I'm more than 3/4 the way done, but it still feels like a lot. And then I still have to bag up all the loot, and I still have to take it to the van. It's a pain in the ass, and I don't know why I like this game. But I have put countless hours into it since I got it from somehow doing some kind of thing for Xbox Access or whatever kind of service it is, where it was free to play for a little while. So I don't understand. I don't know why I keep doing it. Like all the missions, I hate them all. Like I hate doing this stuff, and I hate spending time on it. I feel like the rewards are just lackluster. But just the act of pulling off a silent mission perfectly, getting the most loot possible, even if it takes like over 30 minutes of investment. This mission's probably gonna end up taking like 40 minutes. I might talk for longer than the end of this, and I might even start up another one if I think I'm going pretty good here. But yeah, these missions take forever, and you don't really get all that much out of each individual one. When you do stealth missions, you get kind of a bonus to the experience on the next mission, so it kind of encourages you to play a second one each time to maximize on that. But it's minimal, and it doesn't feel that great, really. Like at the end of it, like I don't know what it is. Like it feels good to get it done perfectly, but at the same time, I also just feel shame, just that I spent the time doing this. But I'm at least now, since I'm multitasking, kind of, it almost feels justified. I've almost got all these lockers open. I'm almost, I'm talking about some good stuff that I'm working on, and so maybe this isn't that bad. Yeah. So anyway, I've been working on that. I've been half working on that and half doing this. All of my projects are paused, obviously. I have more content for my previous series. I do want to continue them, but that kind of requires a few things. Especially the fact that my computer, and this is one of the reasons why this new iteration isn't a video project. I guess my computer is deteriorating at a rate that's a lot faster than I expected, where it's becoming very clear that in order to do anything good, I'm going to need a lot more, like, I don't want to say specifically the problem is RAM, because I'm not as qualified as a hardware guy to say that, but I do want to. The problem is RAM. You know, I don't have enough RAM. Too many things happen on my computer which cause things to slow down. Just having Blender open reduces the speed of the computer to a crawl where I can't even scrub through videos. Like, I can't even load a video and scrub through it without it taking forever. And that's bad. And so before I start making videos in earnest again, I kind of feel like it's almost necessary to get some better hardware. And I do have plans for better hardware, but it's kind of back there on the list right now. That's one of the big reasons why this video isn't an update. It's just something, because if this channel is anything for a little while, it might just be this. It's probably just going to be me talking over. Oh, what? I'm not recording this footage. I don't have any way of doing that. This might just be me talking over nothing. Gosh. Sorry about that. How unfortunate for you. But, I mean, I guess, if anything, it's good to keep stuff like this for posterity's sake. So what else has been going on? I'm almost at the end of these lockers, but I feel like I want to do another mission. I have a little bit of time before I have to do my next thing. Aside from that, I've been really focusing a lot on learning a couple of things, specifically some IT skills, which you're probably hearing a lot of clicking. That's me stealing all this loot now from all these lockers. I'm trying to learn some IT skills. IT skills. What the fuck am I saying? Not IT skills. I was trying to learn some database skills, learning some SQL, some Microsoft SQL Server, stuff like that. I was thinking about getting a certification. I mean, I wasn't thinking about it. I am still thinking about it. But unfortunately, that as well has sort of been difficult with my computer being as uncooperative as it has been. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, all right? I live in a place where community college is readily available, and I could probably just go down to my local campus and take a class where, you know, everything that I need is included. But I don't really gel super great with that whole with the whole college shindig. I don't want to get into that in this, but I mean, that's kind of just the way it's been for me. And so I've been learning it myself, and I've been doing pretty well. But my computer is just really kind of hit a wall where it's. And I won't even say it's just my computer's fault per se, but also because my I was running some trial software to do my self-taught learning, and the trial has ended, and I think I need to pay if I'm going to be able to use all of the features that I would need in order to get certification, because most of the things. I mean, SQL is a pretty straightforward language. You can't really, it isn't as easy to like have a debugger. Like there are certain languages like HTML, which you can just write a bunch of HTML in a text document. You know, I've heard PHP is the same thing, where it's really easy to implement code like that. But SQL Server isn't that. It's in order to really test and run a code and to see if it's working and to learn, you have to have, if not an actual factual server set up, at the very least an emulator. And the emulators are, of course, sold by Microsoft or whoever you get your certification from, whatever software platform. And it's money. And I don't know of specifically any kind of like cheap one that would still get me all of the features that I need, because the certification that I'm looking for specifically is a Microsoft one. And I might look into other to alternatives to a Microsoft SQL certification, but that was the one, because I know Microsoft will be very well requested. That's the one that I selected. And so because of that, you know, I'm not able to, basically there are a bunch of things like security protocols, and there's more things that I wanted to do with functions and stuff like that, which I think really it's kind of difficult to get at the meat of what you need to do on your own. Although I will say that I pretty much got most of the way to learning, you know, the necessities. I think there are very few barriers, and given a little bit more time, I could definitely, you know, do it. I could definitely make something out of it. But unfortunately, right now I'm running into roadblocks with that, and I've never been an idealist. I'm always a realist. So my frame of reference now is, well, I won't dwell on that. I won't sink money into it. I'll work on something different. And I've kind of taken to working on some HTML again, and some web design, and some CSS, some JavaScript. The new project that I'm working on right now incorporates all of those things, as well as obviously some audio and perhaps some other elements as well that I haven't considered. But it will definitely include a spoken. Sorry, something happened in the game, which you won't be able to tell because, of course, you can't see the game. It will have it will have a spoken part. So whoever wants to, it gives it some legitimacy. You know, it's going to be an audio file that you can play somehow. I'll find a way to stream it, maybe on SoundCloud, if not YouTube. But yeah, that's kind of like where I'm looking right now. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to, you know, sit on my thumb and just wait for SQL to get to working. I'll just work on a web page instead and see if I can make something good out of that. And then, of course, my end goal with that, I mean, really, my end goal with that is kind of like the same as my end goal with anything. And it's just to sort of add this to my repertoire of my... I hate calling it a repertoire because it makes it sound more legitimate than I think it actually is. But, you know, it gives me more skills, which makes me more marketable, but also capable of doing things that I might want to do in the future. So I really like the opportunity to, you know, work on something like that. And I have been, and I'm glad. I'm so glad. And I'm also so glad that I finished this mission. This is very good. Give me all of that sweet, sweet experience. Oh, you schmuck. Alright. So, I finished that. But that's why I've kind of moved on to doing this, which I think is still less legitimate than if I was getting an actual certification in something. I mean, I'm sure there's a web design certification that I could look for. And in fact, you know what? I've convinced I've convinced myself I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go find some sort of online. I'm gonna do that right now. This is gonna be me IRL. I'm actually Googling right now while I'm ooh, God, I like that pattern. I'm the pattern that I just got. I'm gonna right now Google web design certifications, and I'm just gonna see if there are any that are just super easy that maybe I can just do a test. Best web certifications for 2017. I like this. ACE for Adobe. A PHP engineer. we'll check this out. I'm not done. I'm not quite done with this game though. So I will. Such a loser, I know. I will check that out, but I'm gonna play one more mission here, and maybe I'll just scan this, and if I see anything, I'll check it out. Now, this is something I actually really, really don't like about this game. Oh, is it worth it? It's not worth it. I don't like the mission select for Payday 2, where you kind of have to wait for all this bullshit, where you have to wait for the random mission that you want to just show up on the map. It's cool that it's DC. I mean, I'm as someone who has lived near DC for quite a long time. You know what, Shadow Raid? I like that. I can do Shadow Raid pretty easily. Get this done. As someone who's lived near DC for a while, it's kind of nice that it's based here. It's too bad that there's like almost nothing recognizable in the game that ties it to DC. But whatever. I mean, you know, we'll just... It's got politicians. That's pretty close. Pretty close to my everyday DC life. Here we go. We want this, and we want nothing. Everything else is fine. So yeah, there are certifications that will help with... Or rather, that do encompass web design, but I don't know if there are any that specifically kind of cover HTML and JavaScript. I might have to start muscling my way through some PHP if I want to do anything reasonable. And I'm not against that. I've heard good things about PHP. I've heard it's really kind of friendly. It's a really friendly language, similar to HTML and JavaScript. I heard that it's very versatile in a similar way. Like I won't have to, you know, like with SQL, I won't have to download a whole freaking server emulator just to get things done. You know, that's always a positive, in my opinion. So maybe you know, I wouldn't mind learning PHP. And really, the only thing I'm trying to do here's the thing. I'm getting on in years. I think it's important that I come to terms with that. Feels bad to say, but I am 25 now. You know, basically old as dirt. And you know, frankly, I think it's about time that I just, you know, get to a point in my life where I have marketable skills, because as much as I love doing things for myself, I can't help but deny that my internal necessities necessitate the necessitarian nature. Never mind, I think. I mean, basically, all I'm saying is that I feel the need to be marketable and to be useful to society in some way, and so for that particular reason, I want to get certified in something. And I think that I have an affinity for computer languages. I have an affinity for programming. I've never been able to make anything out of it, and I think that's largely just because I've been very how would you say, I haven't been very motivated. I've always been infatuated with the idea of having programs and, you know, making programs, but just like, you know, similar to what some internet content creators have said, if you don't love the work of doing it, you can't make it a job. And I think earlier in my life, I really didn't enjoy programming as it was, like as a thing and as like a thing to do. But over time, like the more I've gotten used to it, the more it feels less like something really hard and more like, you know, just sort of writing in a different language, which is really what it is and really what I've grown to appreciate about it. I think the other problem that I've mostly had is the fact that just the fact that I've not been very partial to the school environment and the university environment, and that's really the only places where I've experienced learning about computers. And so I don't want like I've had so many awesome teachers who, by all rights, should have been able to impress me on the concept, but I just, in general, I don't jive with it, man. It's not my shindig, baby. And so because of that, I think I've always struggled to grasp the concepts. And for me, it's always sort of been really hard to. Well, I mean, it's been really easy. Like it's always been super easy to get a get a prompt where it's like, hey, make a C++ program that takes two numbers and adds them together, and I can do that. And if there's like a big project, I mean, I can kind of think out the steps if there's like two or three, but then otherwise, I kind of I'm the kind of guy who has to, like, I don't want to say I have to Google everything, because I do get like the ideas behind programming mostly, and I understand the syntax usually, and I can figure out like simple bugs and things like that. But a lot of times it's like it feels too hard to get things to happen the way that I want them to. And when it comes to a project which I'm not personally invested in, it's like it's really hard to get motivated enough to sleuth for those answers. And I think that's really what's made the difference for me is working on programming kind of like in my own context has really helped me to broaden my knowledge, because I don't have to worry about working hard on a task that I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of energy or want to do. I don't have a lot of there's a word for the thing that I should know. I don't know it. Passion. The passion word. Yeah, I don't have a lot of passion for what I'm doing. And, a lot of people say, well, you shouldn't, your passion, you shouldn't have to count on passion. And you shouldn't have to, you shouldn't have to wait for, this or that mood to hit you in order to do what, you got to do. But, I've struggled with that, I think for me it's been very, I don't know, it's been difficult. It's been difficult to get that motivation to do the thing that I don't actually want to do. And because of that, I'll lose focus in a class, and I'll just, kind of, I have no more body bags, that's bad. Uh-oh, we're in trouble now. This might be it. I don't have any interest, and then I get behind, and then my grade gets bad, and then I don't care. And then I stop caring about the programming, and then, nothing happens. And it's so easy, I think, for an idea to just get roadblocked like that when you don't care about it, that it was never going to work like that. And so that's the reason why I don't really like to learn in school. And that's kind of why I'm not in school right now, is because I kind of had this revelation recently where, I realized that it wasn't for me. And yeah, so I'm glad that I'm not wasting money anymore, not wasting thousands of dollars. But all that said, I am dealing with the harsh reality of self-teaching, which is that there are not a lot of decent resources out there. Like, I mean, obviously it would help if, you have things like Stack Overflow, which allow people to, bring in questions and stuff like that and learn more about stuff. But as far as like software goes and actual, actual like helpful tools that will directly help you as a newbie, it's really, you have to have a lot of drive to get it done by yourself, because otherwise you could end up at the point, and this has happened to me a lot, you can end up at the point where you have a very clear idea of what you want to do and you almost know how to do it. And like, for instance, one thing that I'm working on right now that's giving me some trouble is I'm trying to, for this website that I'm building, I'm trying to make it so that the website does certain things when while the audio is playing, because it has an audio track in the background. And so it's kind of like a curated sort of, as I say things, it brings them up on the screen. And it's not strictly mentioned anywhere how you can, do that. It's not, there's no tutorial that says, oh, if you want, when the audio track gets to this point, you can do this to make it do that. There's nothing that direct. And so, first thing you do if you know anything about programming is to go into Google and type in your question. And so you do that, or I did that, and basically the only thing that, everything that I found was not an answer to my problem. And so when you get to that point, like once it gets to the point where you're like, well, everything that I'm doing is kind of based on this, and now I can't do that. If you get to that point, it's very hard to keep your motivation, because you don't have any now your dream is kind of like in tatters. If you don't have anyone to talk to, then you can't you can't progress. Of course, there are solutions. There are things, like I said, like Stack Overflow, where you can ask questions. And I haven't used Stack Overflow just yet because I'm hard-headed, and when it comes to things that I'm willing to work hard on, I'll take the extra effort and bang my head against the wall a couple of times in order to correct things. And so I haven't used it yet, but I know it's there. And there are a bunch of other websites which allow you to do sort of the same thing. And so yeah, I've been mostly using that stuff to progress. And it's been slow and it's been difficult, but I think it's also been very rewarding, and I think that I'm getting more out of it. So that's why I think I'm going to keep working on it that way. As for what's going to happen after the website, if I'm going to eventually go back to making videos, like I said, that really mostly relies on if I can get some new hardware for my computer to improve it, because there's just my limits right now are just so heavy. Like, I think the last video that I made, like real content for, was the Hippotato drawing, which I did for Hypocrite's art contest. And that, I mean, it was literally just, I had I have a tripod for my phone, and I just set it up over a piece of paper, and I just drew by hand. I don't have a tablet or any kind of like drawing program or anything like that. And so it's like there's not much, there's really not much for me. There's not much opportunity for someone in my earnings bracket. Yeah, I made that video literally just with using a pencil, a paper, and an iPhone, and like I was able to use Blender at the time, but it was very difficult, and yeah, somehow that made it into that became something. But it's not easy. I don't consider myself good at art, and I really just did that sort of on a not on a whim, but I had inspiration, sort of. Like I was called on for the art contest to do a thing, and I was like, oh, I have an idea. I can do a hippopotamus made out of a potato, and it's like Hippotato. That's like, it's a joke. It's the kind of joke that maybe he would appreciate, and I think he did. Well, I mean, he didn't mention it, but I like to feel that he did appreciate it, and so I was happy to do it. and you know, I have things like that going on. But I don't have, like, I can't just, I don't have another idea for a thing to draw. Like, I don't, you know, maybe I could do another speed draw, but, you know, number one, I don't think I have any real claim to the drawing game. But, you know, also, it's, I don't really have any inspiration for something that I want to draw. And because of that, I think it's just, you know, I'm kind of stuck with what I've got. And, you know, I'm not ruling anything out. I think that, if I do get the inspiration, then I definitely will, post another drawing thing. If there's another art contest that I think that I could throw my hat into, I'll try to do the same thing. Hypocrite was really nice because he accepted my entry, even though it wasn't sent in via Twitter or any kind of social media, because of course I'm sort of social media phobic, I guess, sort of. I don't like it. I don't like the social media. But, you know, it was nice of him. Hopefully other people would do the same thing. Hopefully they would extend me the same courtesy, but I can't say for sure if that would happen. But I'd like to try, you know. There's a lot of things I'd like to try. Oh, I killed too many people. Oh no, it's been too long. Oh, that's the thing you don't like to see. Because now I have to reset it, and now I have to do that mission again. I put the last 20 minutes were in that mission. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna give this one more serious shot, and by the end of that, I think I'll have gotten out everything that I wanted to say. Oh, this is frustrating. I don't like this game. Why am I playing this? And it wasn't even. That was just like, I was just absent-minded. I was like, oh, I got one more guard I can kill, and I need to get a key card. So I just killed a guard, and I answered the pager, and of course, it was the 5th guard, which makes the radio operator angry at you, and then you get the police called on you. So, wait, oh, I fucked this up already. I fucked it up. All right, try again. Hold on. No, we'll get this. I forgot that I had to put in all of my insider stuff again, which does make the game easier, so why not? Why not just, yeah, thermite down here, drop off here. Okay, this time we'll do it. I won't get greedy this time either. Once we get 5, I'll just complete it, and then I think I'll call it. Oh, I was talking about something, and then that travesty happened and made me really sad. So I was talking about what I'll do next, and how I'll kind of just let it go and see what I'm feeling. I definitely want to do videos. I definitely have ideas for videos. None of the shows that I presented earlier, that I theorized about earlier, none of them are off the table. It's not like I've lost all hope. It's just that I've had roadblocks and money issues, and I'm still working on those money issues. But I don't know. Sometime in the future, I think you might see something else on my channel, video-wise. Otherwise, it's very possible that I might just decide to create a website and then kind of use YouTube just as a redirect for that website. I think that's very feasible. It's, you know, done. Definitely. Oh, please don't see me, sir. He didn't see me. I can't believe it. I think it's very feasible to do that. I'm not looking for an insane amount of ad revenue or anything crazy. I just want a place to, you know, fucking post videos, but also maybe some other stuff, you know, like, you know, maybe just a web page, maybe just an HTML document, maybe just an audio log, maybe, I don't know, you know. I think a website kind of just does, it has more viability, it has more flexibility, and also, not to mention, YouTube's been getting in a lot of trouble recently for being just totally not creator friendly. And I think the way that YouTube has been going about trying to fix its issue is, I mean, it's just ass backwards, and it makes no sense to me. And I don't have any trust or any. I'm not holding out hope for YouTube to be a good thing. I mean, this is going to be on YouTube because I have a YouTube account. Because I don't post on Facebook or Twitter. Excuse me. I don't post on Facebook or Twitter. I have a SoundCloud, but meh. This is a Onespar thing. Onespar is a YouTube channel, and potentially something else, but it's not anything else yet. So this will be on YouTube, and this will be a thing that you can listen to with probably just a still image as a backdrop. Maybe I'll draw something, or maybe not. But, yeah, I mean, despite all that, I definitely don't have any long-term plans for YouTube. I don't plan on investing anything serious into growing a YouTube channel. I certainly could go that route, but I think that's just cutting myself off at the neck, or not at the neck, but it's just I'm putting my fate in the hands of someone whom I do not trust, and so it seems like not a good idea to me. But that's just a theory, man. Like, it's just my opinion. And so, I'm still going to watch YouTubers. I still do. Twitch streaming is cool. I'll get back into Twitch streaming once my computer can take it. Once I can actually do that. I want to stream Dwarf Fortress. I haven't seen a Cupo stream in a long time, and I've been missing that, but I've been sort of busy doing other things. Yeah, I mean, aside from that, I just really want to keep working on more stuff. Like, I just want to keep just doing it. I want to keep doing it. I want to keep doing, like, the video shuffle. I want to keep doing creative stuff. I just want to, I'm just like girls. I just want to have fun. And this is pretty fun. I think this has been therapeutic. I feel good after having done this. Some sort of perverted pleasure in just saying sort of what's up and what's going on. And so why not? Why not do it again? Why not do more of it? And I will. You got me, YouTube. You fucking got me. I'll do more videos. Fuck. Fine. Alright? I like it when people send me messages and say that was a thing that I enjoyed. I was like, oh, cool. I made the Dwarf Fortress podcast, and I was like, this is a joke. It's not a joke because, obviously I put it up there sincerely, but as far as, like, how good it is, it's a joke. It's not good. It's not a high quality production, and it never was, and I can't imagine that it ever would be. It's just, but I think that's where it starts. That's where it is. That's where I have to be at the beginning. Otherwise, I would already be at the end. And then what would be the point? There wouldn't be one. There would be no point in doing something like that. I think one day I will look back at these old podcasts, these old whatevers, all these old things that I've done, and have a giggle, mate. I'll just have a fucking. I'm not gonna swear. I don't think I've sweared yet. So we'll bleep that swear out. That's 49 minutes in. I'll remember that. Probably not. So yeah. Ooh, this is getting tough now. I don't wanna mess it up here. We gotta end on a good note. So yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what form these will ultimately take. I'm kind of just flying by the seat of my pants, like this. I'm just doing whatever feels right, and this feels all right. I think you won't see any of the gameplay footage, but it'll be all right. I don't know. I mean, I think if there are people like me, and I'm just gonna end. I'm kind of floundering here at this point, trying to get all this stuff together. But when I watch Let's Plays, I'm literally just I'm like I'm actually watching. Like, I actually watch the gameplay, and I barely even pay attention to what they're saying. I just enjoy watching video games being played by other people because I'm just that kind of sick individual. So I think if a person like me exists, there's gotta be someone out there who literally will just listen to a stranger talk, right? I mean, this is going to be an hour. This is going to be a full hour of podcasting, and so if you're in it all the way up until now, then you're that guy. If you're not me and you're listening to this, you're definitely that guy. If you are me and you're listening to this, then oh my God, how far we've fallen. But hey, I mean, that's wait, did I just thank you guys with one breath and then shit on you with the next one? There's the swear. I swore. Sorry, kids, parents. It's not good to swear. But sometimes sometimes it's just therapeutic. Sometimes you say a bad word, like right now for me, I'm by myself. I mean, people are gonna listen to it, but theoretically, but it feels like I'm just the only one, and I'm just saying it to myself. I'm like, I made a goof, and I didn't do something happened that's bad, and I didn't like it, and so just word that's not okay to say, but I said it anyway. It's therapeutic. It feels nice. It feels nice to have that little secret. Like I did a thing. I said a bad word, and no one will know but you and me. This will be our little secret. So if you tell anyone, I'll be upset. We're getting the last of these bags into this trash can, and then I'm gonna get the other ones into a van, and then we're gonna call it quits on this podcast. Yeah, as for what to expect in the future, I don't know. Like, at some point, I think once I'm closer to having a good-looking product, I'm going to post a little video teaser for my next project. I don't have a time frame for it just now. It's kind of just, whenever it gets worked on. I'm going to do my best to have that be a thing whenever it happens. And then aside from that, I mean, you'll know the moment I get new equipment for my computer, because the Let's Plays will start coming out again. I'll play more Dark Souls. I'll play more Dwarf Fortress. My stretch goal... Oh, here's a thing. Here's the thing I'll talk about while I'm just getting these last two bags in. Maybe I can squeeze this in here. I want to crowdfund myself, but right now I just don't feel like I have a good product. And I hate the idea of trying to sell people a product that I know I wouldn't pay for. And so, like, even if there was someone who was nice enough to want to support me in that way, it doesn't feel good to me, and so I don't like the idea of crowdfunding. But if I did crowdfund and I had a stretch goal, my stretch goal would be to get 50 or $100 set aside so I can get a nice USB microphone, and then once I do that, I want to start streaming. After, of course, I get my new graphics card or a new whatever I need in order to make my computer better, which I promise I will look up on the internet. And look, now I finished my... I'm doing the stretch. This is a really big stretch that you're not seeing. I said Nazi on my stream right at the end. It's falling apart. Whew. Yeah, so, I finished that. That was the whole thing. So yeah, once I get the opportunity to, I want to stream with a USB microphone. Once I get the money for that, once I get the better computer hardware, of course, all of that happens after I get enough money to become financially independent, which I'm still working on. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, yeah, that's basically the end of this podcast now. I think I've wasted enough time. I'm gonna do some actual work. But I appreciate you hanging out and listening to me ramble on for this entire time. Oh, I'm so close. So close to getting the... makes me sad. Alright, anyway, see you guys. Goodbye.